Hello, dear sister. Today we're talking about trying to conceive and doing the impossible, or believing the impossible. In my last video, I talked about choosing a better reality, and we're going to use trying to conceive as an example of this. So, um, the journey when you're trying to conceive and you're having a really hard time is so frustrating, and it can be it's so easy to get caught into a self-perpetuating loop of limited thinking. And that is because we've been taught to believe one sort of reality. Well, the usual way to do it is you try to have a baby, and if it takes a while, just trying on your own, then you start charting your menstrual cycle, your ovulation cycle. You start taking your temperature, you start checking for cervical mucus. That's one of the things that we're taught to believe when we're trying to conceive, is that you have to look at all these outside forces of your body. Look to your body to tell you if you're ready to conceive or not. And that's not what we should be doing. And something else that's a barrier or a limitation when we're trying to conceive is age. And I get so many women who come to my website that are over 40 and think that having a baby is either impossible or high risk. That's something else we're taught to believe. So when we're trying to conceive, we're taught all these limited things, and it keeps us in a limited loop. So if we really believe it, and if we're having trouble one month and then we're going to perpetuate the trouble another month and another month. Now, I'm not saying this is our fault. This is something we agreed to experience. But if you're on my site and if you're watching this video, then it's an invitation to get out of this loop of frustration. That's just not the way we have to do it anymore. And when I talk about the impossible, I talk about everywhere on my site, in my blog, in my book, in my videos, about stepping into a limitless reality. That's what we're here to do. The impossible is actually not impossible. It's our natural state. Being in a pristine, healthy, self-sustainable body that can sustain its own harmony and balance and center, that's not impossible. That's our natural state. So our existence up to this point has been one of limitation. And now, with the energy here, with the children coming in now, with our purpose here to build a new energy on this earth, access a new energy on the earth, we're being asked, we're being invited. Our souls are nudging us, and sometimes not so quietly, to step into the impossible, to step into our limitlessness. I'm going to use one woman as an example, and she's actually a combination of many women that I've done readings for. But the woman who's stuck in the cycle of trying to conceive, and again, this is appropriate. It helps for our spiritual evolution. Everyone has their own path to spiritual evolution and their own difficulties and challenges. And those that have had a hard time conceiving, they've chosen that to be a part of their spiritual evolution. It's all appropriate. But again, we're being invited to step out of that and into a new cycle. So, believing the impossible, this woman had various cycles of IVF treatment. After a long period of trying to conceive naturally. IVF can be natural in these transitional times. So after a long period, she had several cycles of IVF. Nothing took. And then the last one, she had a miscarriage. And, just totally devastated. Totally devastated. And, here she is, a certain age, 43. So she feels like she has all these stacked odds against her. She has trouble conceiving naturally. She's not successful when it comes to IVF. When she is successful when it comes to IVF, she has miscarriage. She's had all these instances showing her that she's limited in this way. And that's when she came to me, because trying to have a baby was proving to be impossible. And, you know, she looked into my videos and she had a reading with me. And again, this is many women combined into one. Um, and she realized that, yeah, she was done suffering. She was done with that cycle of limitation. Um, you know, she was willing to listen to the voice of her baby that was nudging her into a bigger existence, into a higher version of herself. And she said yes to stopping the trying to conceive journey and starting a vibrational journey. What does that mean? It means you're not focusing so much on trying to control circumstances and trying to, you know, manipulate and force. You're letting that be for a moment and you're stepping into a higher vibration. And that's going to look very different for everybody. Our vibrational journeys are very different. But once you say yes to it, what you need starts falling in your lap. It's a vibrational spiritual journey here. It expands into consciousness. And when you expand into consciousness, you can overcome these limitations. You can overcome the age barrier. You can overcome the frustrating loop of the limitations of your body. You can overcome the limitations of your body. This is really what's going on right now. When we overcome the limitations of our mind, we overcome the limitations of our body. And I call it impossible because many people don't understand what we're actually headed for right now, and that is to become a new species of human 2.0, where our carbon bodies turn crystalline, and we don't have the disease, we don't have the illness, we don't have the aging. Listen to me, we don't have the aging. When it's time for us to leave this earth, we do it on our own accord. The end of the death cycle. That's what I'm talking about. Many people are aware of this now, and it's becoming more and more known. And this is what the invitation is, to step into our own limitlessness, where our body does not limit us, our mind does not limit us. So I'm asking those that are having trouble to conceive to believe in the impossible, that your body can self-correct. The limitations that have been there before can actually just reconfigure themselves as our biology reconfigures ourselves, as our mind and our emotional body reconfigures itself. How long does it take? I don't know. I'm 10 years in, and I'm starting to see the changes in my body. There's still a ways to go, but I know that my vibration is now of a certain one where I know the impossible is inevitable. There's a trust and a knowing here, and that's what we're going for right now, is the trust and the knowing. So if you're already believing something impossible, like it's impossible for me to have a baby, it's time to believe in a different kind of impossible. It's impossible for you not to have a baby. If you really take care to tend to your vibration, the baby's coming in a very high vibration. They want us to meet them there, not to earn them, but just to be enjoyed together. So they don't have to deal with our limitations when they come in. So they're asking us, raise the vibration, raise the vibration. And again, that means many things to many people. But first, it means believing that it's possible. Believe that the impossible is not only possible, but when you are of a higher vibration, it's inevitable. Now, things like IVF and adoption, they're still absolutely viable divine paths to your baby. They absolutely are. We're in a transitional time, and until our bodies catch up with the rising consciousness, we can still use these avenues as our divine path. And the babies know what they're supposed to do and where they're coming. You can't miss your baby. You can't miss it. But just believe, no matter what, no matter how impossible things have been in the past, it's time to leave it behind. It's time to start a new cycle. Believe in a new impossible. It's impossible for me not to have my baby. It's impossible for my body not to rebalance and reconfigure itself. Believe in a new impossible. So, if you're new to my site, if you're new to this sort of concept, peruse all my blogs. The 6-part series is great. And there's 2 articles there, new way to, what is it? Trying to Conceive a New Way, something part 1 and part 2. And then my book too. It gives the whole story there. And when you're on your vibrational journey, I can't recommend enough the video Self-Love 1 and 2. That's, I mean, a huge way to increase your vibration. It's all about love. It's all about love, and it starts here. Believe in yourself, trust in yourself, and believe in your baby. Trust in your baby. Your baby wants you to have this information. You can't have a dream without having the means to make it happen. So believe, dear sister, believe in the impossible. I love you.